Some mitzvot in the Torah have a lot of detail written in the psukim themselves, while some of the mitzvot have almost no actual details for us to read about in the Torah Shebechtav. And what's even stranger is some of the mitzvot that when you look at the practical halachot that we actually do today, in the Torah itself, there's almost nothing written. While some of the mitzvot that aren't so prevalent in our lives and aren't so relevant have so much detail. And probably the most classic example of that is the difference between the Mishkan and Shabbat. Shabbat, as we know, there's volumes and volumes of books that are written about the halachot of Shabbat. However, in the Torah, it's just a few psukim, simply stating, do not do malacha. Well, the Mishkan, which we don't have today, and the building of the Mishkan, which there is no mitzvah to build the Mishkan, rather the Beit HaMikdash, which has different halachot, the Torah spends immense amount of detail on the building of the Mishkan. Why is that so? Which even stranger is the correlation and the relationship between Shabbos and the malachot themselves. Why is it that Shabbat and the malachot and the Mishkan are so connected? Rav Hirsch explains that the word malacha is something very unique. It's not the same thing as avodah. On Shabbat, we're not supposed to do milachot. Rather, we do everything else but not malachot. What's a malacha? He explains that it's different than an avodah. An avodah is work. For example, moving around chairs, carrying things, all those things, even though I'm working very hard, is allowed on Shabbat. While melachot are not. And malacha comes from the word malach. Malach means my messenger. In other words, it's not my work, rather it's my handiwork. When I put some sort of purpose in the work that I'm doing, that's a malacha. I create something, I change it, I make it my own, that's what's a malacha. And all the malachot of Shabbat have to do with taking something that is creative meaning something that I want to accomplish through an action, and building something new. That's the entire essence of the malachot on Shabbat. And therefore on Shabbat, if it doesn't have a purpose, it's not asur midoraita. The Mishkan is the first time that we're creating something. And that creation is the first time that human beings are doing something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did at the beginning of creation. The word malacha is found for the first time when God created the world at the end on Shabbat, Veichulu hashamayim va'aretz b'chol malachto. And then afterwards, it's written when it comes to our malacha in building the Mishkan. The Torah spends so much time on building the Mishkan and the malachot in order to demonstrate to us how we're supposed to create like Hashem does. On Shabbat, all we have to say is that it's the opposite side of what the Mishkan is. Just as we created in the Mishkan, we refrain from creating, we refrain from doing the malachot on Shabbat itself. Shabbat Shalom.